Ay, ay, ay. Right. So you've been hanging on and waiting, anticipating and thinking, yeah, she used to roll them one a day. So, or maybe 5, 6 a day. So we should have one every day. Oh my Lord, 2 days is gone and I just left you hanging. What am I like, eh? I'm okay. And, these earplugs, they're echoing on me. You know something? People who do this, podcasts, they have equipment. I mean, you have never seen anything like it. It's like a studio. And guess what? I've got my little, headphones, the one that literally goes into your ear, and that is what I talk through. And actually nobody knows that it's not been done in a studio because it doesn't sound echoey or off, or maybe the fact that I live alone, and I can have an environment where it's quieter when I'm talking. But obviously occasionally I get the phone ringing or something going. But you're saying, stop it, just stop it. Don't you go waffling on about blooming equipment. We want to hear what happened. Oh, right. Well, yeah. Well, something I'm glad about is at least this thing is, some part of it made people cry, and I'm thinking about revising that, changing it, or maybe archiving it and putting something a little bit more livelier, because some people start and then they say, I can't go on. It's so sad. And it is sad. It's a sad story, but I'm self-counseling and I've got to make light of some things, because to be honest, at that particular time when I was hooking up with that man, it was it was heard of, but it wasn't a popular thing to do, because the man was my grandmother's age. All right. So you gotta get this. So there was a lot of shock, and one that is why I never even told anyone in the family. I'll tell you a bit later when my mother came to hear about it. Oh, I tell you what, she came to create. But sadly, by the time she came to do that, I was a married woman. She didn't know I had done it. And, one of the things is that when you're dealing with someone from a civilized part of the world, they know the procedures about what to do from, in certain situations. For instance, I was legally married, and the announcement was put in the civic center, wherever it is that, you get married, where we went. And it's put there for everybody to see. And obviously, nobody bothered to have a look at if they did. And if they did, they didn't bother because, one, they didn't associate me with Chikukwa. They knew me as Ngandu. So when it came to, the bride-to-be, they put Susan Ngandu, the father, Philip Chikukwa. And nobody has ever heard or seen Chikukwa. So, who the heck is that? Oh, it must be someone else. So, surely she can't be a Susan Ngandu and a father with a different name if she's still a spinster. So nobody made a hoo-ha, if you see what I mean. Nobody said anything. So it was like, it can't be. But so by the time my mother got wind of it, it was all done and dusted. Yep, done and dusted. And I'm laughing because, for me who is a Christian, and for me who knows swearing on God's Bible means I've got to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And there I was swearing to this marriage and saying I do, and suddenly my voice disappeared. And I thought to myself, this is God telling me, I'm going to gag you. You're not going to say I do. So I was whispering, I do. I do in a very clear voice. It was like someone with laryngitis and completely locked. I do. Oh my Lord. And anyway, I told you, so no family members came, no family members knew about that. And, the old man had his colleague who was actually taking over his job once he was, his contract as an expatriate had ended. His name was Maxon Coma. That was his best man. I don't know what mine was. What was it? What do you call them? So Beauty, we just call them witnesses. We didn't actually give them any fancy names. And I wore a dress that I bought here in UK. It was a little purple number. Would you believe it? It was a size 10. And it fitted me perfectly. Look at me now, my good girl, 1820. Would you believe it? I mean, yeah, of course you would believe it. I was a lot heavier than 1820 at one point. I was 22, 24. So yeah, and I'm looking back at the photos and I'm thinking, gosh, I was big. How did I lose this weight? So I actually don't know how I did lose that weight. But, the thing is, I digress now, right? Okay. Talk about weight another time. But I'm thinking, menopausal women, they get a tire in the middle. And then when the hormones level up, then it goes. So I think that's what's going on here. Although I'm also watching what I eat. So anyway, nice little purple dress. And it was a size 10. It says 10/12, so 10, 12. They used to do dresses like knickers in those days, What's it? It reminds me of, I can't remember who told me, one of the kids, a toddler or a kid at school said, I know how old you are, miss, or something like that. How old am I? You are 22. How do you know? Because it says that on the back of your, when you bent, I saw your knicker and the sticker said 22. Well, that just said, because for her, she was wearing knickers that said 5 to 6 or 7 to 8, that kind of thing. So anyway, so she was size 22, big woman. She wasn't 22 years old. Right. What was I talking about? The wedding day. So everything was done. It was left in that office for 2 weeks for people to reject or comment or say what. And then when we went, I did honestly, it was a bizarre, but anyway, I did like a buffet thing. And because I didn't drink, I wasn't the right person to do a spread for my own wedding party. I wouldn't have known because alcohol was never on my agenda at that time. And of course I had these friends who I'd met at college, who came to my wedding and they were looking forward to alcohol. And, that was literally all they were looking forward to. And coming in to just eat, sausage rolls and sandwiches. And, that kind of finger buffet. And I think they thought, where's the alcohol? And Coca-Cola and... Oh, Lord, we've come a long way, haven't we? Yeah, so... Beauty was, the woman who was on my side who came with me, and her and Jim had Maxon, so the two of them signed. So, pardon me, excuse me. So there was, I just had lunch. Coleslaw, but without the mayonnaise, and I put a couple of spoonfuls of pesto in the pasta, so it was like a vegetarian type thing. Anyway, so we went, and a couple of people from college, they were like, just the witnesses in the benches sitting there, and then we came back to the house. And, the really, really surprising thing is, just as I was about to say, and he's, say, blah, blah, whatever they say before, and then, I do, you have to say that. I was like, my voice just went. And I thought, what's going to happen here? And a couple of hours later, I was normal, talking normal. My voice was back. And I thought, is anyone going to say, what was that about? What was that about? She can't talk. She couldn't talk when she was saying, I do now, she can talk. I don't know. Maybe it was my conscious locking my voice, because my conscious knew that it wasn't doing that for the right reasons. But then again, he wasn't doing that for the right reasons either. He wanted his kids, and he had to have a wife from there. So, this is sad, isn't it? But for me, who was brought up in an environment where you don't say, oh, wow, I love that man, and then it's the love you feel for him that leads you to marry him. Anyone can be your husband, and the love develops. That's the angle I'm coming from. So it didn't matter who would have married me. As long as it ended up to be, this is now your husband, then it was automatically conditioned that it's gonna, love follows, and this is what you do. That is who your husband is, and all the stuff that goes with it, just falls into place. And yeah, that's how it happened. Yes, it was July the 12th. July the 12th. It was supposed to be one of those, or was it July the 11th? I can't remember now. The reason why I'm saying that is because either the 12th or the 11th was a weekend. So, and it had to be one of those, a date that matched the Orange Day in Ireland. I don't know what goes on the Orange Day, what day that is. So if you remember what day that is, if it was the 10th, then we got married on the 11th. If it was the 11th, then we got married on the 12th, or something like that. My memory is not very good with specific dates, but obviously I can just closely remember this because it was quite a significant event in my life. So, yeah, and so that was July. August, we went. Well, I had to say, because I think what happens is you get married and you have to take your husband home to meet everyone. For me, it wasn't like, because we lived in the same town, it wasn't like, oh, let's go down and see my mom and let me introduce you to her. No, for me, the whole fiber of my being, taking my husband home was back to the village. That is where I felt home was. I never felt at home in my mother's house, so it had to be back in the village. And we went. It was very hot. And it was the time when my grandmother was holiday time for her, because the harvest season had been over and it was before the rainy season. So it was summer. It was Zambian summer. And we stayed at the Intercontinental Hotel. As I say earlier, that was something big. But, he wasn't a man with money. And okay, maybe he did have money. And this is one of the big issue. The big issue was that he was remitting money back in the UK, but he was, whether it's the guilt or something that he was feeling, he was giving it to his children. Which of his children, I don't know, but I very much know that he had given his older son, his first son, a lot of money. And only he told me that he'd given him a lot of money. And I came to learn about this actually literally less than a year before he died. And that was because, the money that he was sending to his son, he said that it wasn't a gift. He said he wanted that money back. And I'll tell you why I think he came to that conclusion why he was doing that. I'll tell you, later. But, in the meantime, we were in the Intercontinental Hotel in Livingston. And, we had a great time. Food and hotels were very expensive in those days. And for people like me and him, we didn't have the kind of money to actually have any length of time. And of course, for me, it was like, all right, I'm married now. And excuse me, all right, because if I've married to a white man, I ought to be able to, the things that I used to daydream about, I ought to be able to get we had a car, we drove there. So I should be able to fill the boot with goodies and take them to the village for my grandma, but we didn't have even that money to do that sort of thing. It was a bit shameful, really. You're going to marry someone who's your grandmother's age or even older than your grandmother. At least have something to show for it, and I didn't. I had nothing to show for it apart from, okay, my aim is I'm going to go to the UK and go to school. But there was nothing. I mean, for goodness sake, he didn't even have a good pair of a belt to hold his trousers up. My granddad was much more better dressed when we went for dinner. And when we got there, the dinner was like 200 kwacha. And that is all I had for the rest of the holiday. And when it came, it was like we said T-bone steak, and Granddad could chew some of it because he had his own teeth, but my husband didn't because he didn't have teeth. Oh, God. Right. Oh, so anyway, and of course, we sort of thought, right, we were there only for whatever it was. And we drove to the village one day just for him to see where the village was. It was literally deserted that time of year. Nobody hangs around. They don't sit around. They're all out visiting their friends, doing whatever. So it was literally just to see, and we hadn't eaten all day, and there was no opportunity for me to cook because one, there was no one around, so there was no ground maize for me to cook in sema, all sorts of stuff. And we thought we'll make some tea, and we didn't have the. I made tea and gave him a cup of tea, but our teacups were very fancy, but they were not made of crockery. They were made of metal. Only they were nicely, decorated. So it was a teacup and a saucer matching everything, but it was made of metal. So putting in the summer, putting a hot cup of tea in there and giving it to someone, it's extremely hot. That's something that's just boiled. They have to wait to drink it. And I remember thinking, gosh, what a blooming mess, We can't afford to bring anything for Grandma, so Grandma can't even say, it's all right, you brought me this stuff, I'll make something for you. And she wasn't always in the village because she'd gone away, and she just arrived, so nothing was prepared. It was a bit like, we are poor, we can't give you anything, not even a drink of any kind, but we made tea and we gave it to him and he drank that. By the time we got back, we were very hungry, but I don't think we had enough money to even say, let's have dinner. So we just went to bed, And this is the man who was yelling at me saying, you black people think I'm white, I've got money. Well, he obviously meant it. He didn't have any money, that's for sure. But that is not how I was treated subsequently. I was treated as a gold digger. I'm not quite sure what kind of gold I was digging there, apart from the shameful thing of this young thing hanging around marrying a geriatric, and what he got to show for it, that he could say, at least, I have known some, I don't know, what do you call them, girls with the rabbit ears, bunny girls or whatever you call them. Someone who had married a billionaire, a young 20-year-old married a 90-year-old. Then you understand that, money took them there. But maybe his family thought because they were receiving that money and that there was a lot more where that came from, and that's where I went with him. I didn't, because we had no money whatsoever. So, honeymoon, and we don't even have enough to stretch to dinners. So it was a shameful thing. But anyway, we managed it. We did it. And we did, obviously we couldn't stay in the hotel for more than 2 nights. So we went to my Uncle Willie and stayed there. I was still very much, when I go there, and my Uncle Willie was, he I don't think he liked me, because I didn't have the urban sophistication. He very much liked my younger sister, because, there, little Mercy, the clever one, the one with urban sophistication, there she is, there, constantly. And to me, it's like, what's this idiot doing now? And going to him, presenting to him, because we can't afford to stay in the hotel, can we stay there for the rest of our holiday? It was a bit shameful, and I was just thinking, what's he gonna cough up now? What's he gonna say to me? But he didn't say anything, and we stayed. He was obviously, as he's well traveled, so he would be chatting with my husband, and I would just be pottering about. Some of these things, the detail of what I actually did while I was there, they're blanked out of my mind, because, they're shamefully painful experiences. Anything that makes me think that I wasn't looked at in a good light, what's the matter with this idiot doing this, as if she's going to get something out of it? If you're going to do this, at least have someone, all that kind of stuff was boiling on in my head. I know those people. I know most people, that's what they would say, but that's not what it was. For me, tomorrow was much more important than today. And it didn't matter today if I have to swim a river with so much rapids, as long as I know that I will manage to cross, and when I cross over, it's much better the other side. So I was swimming against the tide, and I knew I was going to get there. I had faith in myself, even if no one else did. And when I got married, on the day that I got married, or during that time, the kids were not there. I had left them in the UK and come back by myself after, when I came on the holiday. The holiday itself was, as I say, I loved the shops. But it was at that time when HIV and AIDS was just about getting to be known. And the fact that we were coming from Africa, we stayed with his son and his wife and their 2 kids. His wife was very much like, this is your spoon, this is your fork, that's your knife, this is your cup. And it never changed. Whenever she presented the food on the table, that's how it is. You couldn't just get up and go and help yourself to anything using whatever cup or you find, you'll be in trouble. I try to help washing up. She says, you don't know how to do it. You're scratching my sink, my new sink. And so, that kind of thing. But one of the things I remember clearly during that visit was, this is the visit that when I went back, I got married, was, his son took us to KFC. It was my first time at KFC, and whether it was, even if I was like a size 10, 12, all my life people have said I'm fat. Could be my face, my chubby cheeks, but until they actually put my clothes on and realize, actually you're not that big, but you look so big. And it's just my build, maybe the way I look, I don't know. But he obviously must have taken one look at me and thought I was too big, and that meant I ate a lot. And I did eat a lot. Yes, of course I did. My husband used to laugh at me saying, "Oh, when you said your great grandmother gave you a portion to make you eat because you were too young to be weaned." I said, "Yes," and he would go, "Yeah, she gave you an overdose." Oh, so what? So he bought me this 3-piece dinner, and I think he had 3-piece dinner too, and the younger ones are 2-piece dinners. And then it was all put in front of us. And I sat there thinking, what next? So he looked at me and he said, "That's yours." I said, "Well, all of this?" "Yes," he said. I thought, wow, all this chicken just for me. They could have perhaps maybe even bought me, a children's dinner with just one drumstick. I would still have been amazed. But all those massive three pieces of chicken, chips, coleslaw, and I thought, wow, and sweet corn. So I remember that quite clearly. And another thing I remember food-wise was that, we ate in much similar ways. Lunch was beans on toast. Dinner would be like beans with sausage, opened from a tin with mashed potato, something like that. And then we would have supper, which is like a slice of pork pie. That is what we would have. And we would be given chocolate, a Kit Kat, Twix, or something like that. Not a Yorkie, what was it? Snicker. And then another thing, what was it we would eat? Oh, Sunday was a different kind of dinner. It was a roast dinner. So that was good. But, everything was very much, stringent. Dead on at these times. So not something new to me, because I was used to all my grandmother's regimented ways and routines. So that's fine, and it's a good thing because everybody knows where they stand. It was. I think it would have been better if I stayed just for a week or maybe a few days and then left. But maybe I stayed too long. The husband was fine with it. The son, he was all right. But the wife, she was accommodating, but she was pushed. I think she was frustrated. There was these 4, what she called 4 black people. And this is another thing. Those kids, they're mixed race. Their mother is black, their father is white, and they didn't know they were black. Because they would run, and if someone is about to come in the gate, it's a blackie, they used to say. They would run to their dad. "There's a blackie at the gate. There's a blackie at the gate." And I'm thinking, so what are you? But you see, this is the thing is, women in my group now, and not like now, but what I'm saying is women who married white men, they were back home. They were usually much younger, and these white men were much older. And when they had their kids, rather than saying, they've got their kids and they're black kids, they used to say, "Oh, my kids are white." So these kids believed that they were white. They never addressed the black side of them. All right, I've gone on and on about here, there, everywhere. If you want to know something specific, leave me a comment. On here, and just say, "Can you elaborate on this? Can you tell me a bit more about that?" And I will do that. But you have to make the comment. You have to say, oh hi, episode, or go to the episode that you've heard, and you want to ask something, just go and say something there. Okay. It's gone half an hour. I'm doing this today. I wasn't even gonna do it. I've been awake since 5 o'clock, and I pottered about, done what I was supposed to do. I've got visitors coming at 4. And I thought, right, I think I'm going to go lie down. So I came in, sat down on my bed, and thought, I better just do one episode of whatever. I like to write things down so that I'm jogging my memory as I go along. But this is it's a free one, Yeah, I'm not looking at anything, planned anything, just talked. All right. Okay, so leave me a note, make a comment, and ask whatever you want to ask. It's 31 minutes. Have a nice day, Tara.